SAA, Lackey or Protector, you decide. Right here, right now. Follow the protocol or get out. This is church. No lackeys allowed. Protector or nothing.
Hey, y'all, it's Black Dragon and Woo, 1%er. Here we are. Here we
What up,
are.
y'all? I don't know where that music came from, but I like that, man. I don't know where it came from. That's good. That's some slick shit, right? Oh, I said the no, YouTube monetize.
No,
That's some slick poop, man. I like that.
we had to come in right, man.
Oh man, who did that?
Hey, believe it or not, that is the free music from YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they got a little 70s groove.
They got some free music for you.
What up, everybody? What up? What up? What up?
What up? What up?
What's going on? How you doing, Dragon? I know you still got a cough, man. You were hacking away behind the scenes there.
Man, it is
Yeah.
crazy. I wasn't coughing till you just now said coughing. So
that's like a yawn. As soon as you see somebody yawn, all of a sudden you got a yawn.
I was doing much better. Wow, man. It is good to see you tonight.
Definitely good to see you. Yeah.
So,
haven't seen you since last week.
Yeah. Tuesdays and Thursdays now.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Weekend was good, except that I learned that a brother died. So
that's never good.
Funeral today, and that's
never good.
Very tough. And I spoke for a couple minutes, and I got to say what was on my mind. That kid got me. He's responsible for Black Dragon and Black Dragon Biker TV. He's responsible. He brought me back into the biker world when I had left it for good. After I did the movie Biker Boys, I kind of I moved here. I was here in Atlanta, and my club was from San Diego, so I kind of just dropped off the scene after we did Biker Boys. So a few years later, I met this kid named Guns, and he was a prospect, and he was wild, and he was crazy, and he reminded me of a young me, and I just started hanging out with him. And so he took me to his club, the Cycle Kings, and they just took me in as a brother. For the next 3 years, I was a Cycle King. I mean, I never had on the cut or anything like that. I still have my black haircut on, but they treated me in every way a Cycle King. And then it got to the point where they were like, you know what? Either you're going to start a Black Sabbath here, or you're going to put on Cycle Kings, or we're going to kick your ass. You don't have a choice. So they pushed me back into this whole thing. And it was all from that young man who I watched go from a prospect to a president. And he was a badass sergeant at arms, badass president. He was a badass everything.
Rest in peace, man.
His name was Guns.
Rest in peace, Guns. We don't like to hear anybody dying, man. I don't like to hear that. Rest in peace, Guns.
Tough guy. Tough guy. He was tough, man. Tough guy. And so he's gone. We went to his funeral this morning, T and I, and that hurt, man. It hurt because we're losing a lot, man. And I met some of the old brothers, and they're sick. A lot of them are sick, man. We are sick, man. With chronic diseases. Young people, take care of your bodies, man. Take care of the bodies God has given you so that you can keep your Tarzan on and have sex till you're 80. And if you don't,
that's the funny thing about being young is you think you're invincible.
yeah,
Right? Everybody young thinks, not me, I'm going to live forever. And as you get older, the bad thing about getting older is everybody starts dropping dead around you.
yes,
And thank God I'm still here. Thank God. But
amen.
everyone starts catching this and getting that and getting this and dying of this and dying of that. And it becomes sad, and it reminds you of how mortal you really are when you get to a certain age.
When you get a
You're going,
certain age,
wow,
you realize I'm immortal.
I am.
I could get out
Absolutely.
of here at any time now.
Anytime. I'm not Superman.
Yeah. So you don't
So,
think about it when you're a kid.
absolutely.
Tonight's show, Sergeant at Arms, Lackey or Protector. And so here's the lead in for this. Let me find the lead in. I should have put it in the I have a teleprompter, and I don't have to look off screen if I copy this and put it in the teleprompter. So let me.
I always wondered, do you guys use teleprompters? You YouTube content creators.
So my screen is over there, and if I'm looking like this, it makes it look. So if I'm looking like this and I put the screen on, it makes it look like I'm looking at the screen, but actually I'm looking the complete opposite way of the screen. But if I don't have that screen on, I'm looking over here, and it looks like I'm looking off screen. So I do have a teleprompter. They put it in this program. This program, StreamYard, has so many cool freaking things.
Okay.
And they put a teleprompter in here about 4 months ago. So
That's
now all I got to do is cut it, paste it. Now it's in the teleprompter. I hit this button and it comes on, and now I can look directly at the screen. I don't know if it still looks like I'm reading or not.
It does.
But
no, it doesn't. No. It looks like you're looking at the camera. It doesn't look like you're reading at all.
That is kind of cool. So tonight on Church with me and One Percenter, tonight. So now I'm reading. Tonight we tackle one of the most controversial roles in any motorcycle club: Sergeant at Arms, President's personal enforcer, or true protector of the MC. Many presidents treat the Sergeant at Arms as their own hitman, using him to put members out bad without a trial, punish dissidents, and strong arm the club into compliance. In some 1% clubs, the Sergeant at Arms is appointed by the president instead of being voted in. In those clubs, it is essential that he follow what the president say because the pressure's on. But in other clubs, the Sergeant at Arms, especially 99% clubs, is seen as the defender of the little guy and the guardian of the club's rules, and he's voted in. So there's not as much pressure for him to just be a pollywog and move along. So he's not exactly just the president's lapdog in those kind of clubs. So Black Dragon on the 99%er side and Woo 1%er go head to head on this heavy topic with real protocol talk from both sides.
I think we're gonna agree.
Yeah, we were talking for the show. I think we're gonna agree a lot of stuff.
I think we're
Raw unfiltered church discussion, no fluff. Turn on notifications. New church episodes drop regularly every Tuesday and Thursday, somewhere around 9 o'clock. This is a news and commentary channel. We do not condone violence or illegal activity. Content is for informational and educational purposes only. Support the channel, Prospects Bible, President's Bible, MC 101 Protocol merch, blackdragonsgear.com, and you can also get Woo's merch by contacting him directly for Young Outlaws. What's your club's take on this SAA role? Drop it in the comments and keep it respectful. That they gave me all of that to say. So,
go ahead, take it away. Let's go.
So we had this guy that came from a 1% club in the Black Sabbath, and he was a very kind of like powerful guy. Everybody was a little bit intimidated because he came from the other side, and so a lot of people would listen to what he said, and they elected him Sergeant at Arms of the Atlanta Chaplain very, very quickly. Have you guys heard of the East Bay Dragons out of Oakland? Yes, absolutely. I think everybody in the world has.
Absolutely.
The neat thing about them, the Rook, is they actually came from Oakland to the Dragon's Lair, my place right here, and hung out with me for several days. It was very good. I see you, Vera Lisa. This is a previous Black Sabbath goddess. It's good to see you, my love. Hope you're doing well over there in Texas. This guy would make me angry, Woo, because we'd be sitting in the meetings and we are discussing this, that, and the other. And so it'd come down to a vote. And out of his mouth every freaking time, whatever my president wants, that's what I'll do. Whatever my president says, that's what my vote is what my president's vote is. And I got so tired of that shit. That you're a sergeant at arms. You're one of the main people in the club. You're a former 1%er. And we're looking at you for direction. And if you agree with the sergeant at arms, with the president every time, that's great. But I need more. I need you to be saying, my name is Puff the Dragon, and it is my vote this. It is my vote that. It's my vote this, my vote that, my vote this. Not whatever the president says, man. I'm with my prez. Whatever my prez wants. My prez. Got on my nerves. And I was like, bro, do you have a mind all your own? And so one day I called him on it. Like, what the F is this my press shit all the time? And he says, I'm the sergeant at arms. It is my duty to back the prez in everything he says and does. And I was like, wow, is that how they do it over there? In everything he says and does? Damn. So, I don't know. Is that what happens over there on that side?
No. That's definitely not what happens on the dark side. I wanna first preface by saying anything I say is my opinion. It isn't anybody else's opinion. I speak for myself. I think I told you this before we went live. I had the privilege of being sergeant 3 times. The first time, when I moved to another chapter, they didn't need any more sergeants, so I fell back in line and became a regular member. And then after that, after I went to another chapter, I was a sergeant again, and they took the title from me because I couldn't fulfill the duties required. It's a lot of stuff that goes with being a sergeant. And the last time that I was sergeant, I was disciplined again. I've been disciplined a lot. I think I've said this on Facebook a million times. I've prospected 3 times, the original time and the other 2 punitive. I have a hard time following any man. It's just difficult for me. I'm not a follower by nature. So I question everything and I argue everything and I fight against everything, and that doesn't really go well. So to answer your question, no, on this side, well, first let me start by saying that a sergeant, in my opinion, a sergeant has to be a very strong-minded individual. Sergeants, again, in my opinion, they don't side with presidents, they don't side with the body, they ride the middle. If you have a sergeant that sides with the president and the board, then he's turning his back on the membership. And if you have a sergeant that follows what the membership says, then he's not necessarily following the instructions of the board, the bylaws, and the president. So a sergeant, in my opinion, has to ride the middle. He has to be non-biased. He doesn't protect a man, he protects a seat. So no matter who's in that seat, gets the same protection and respect, right? That's the sergeant's job. And he's the protector of the bylaws. But again, in my opinion, he has to have a strong personality, and he has to be able to stand his ground when it's time to stand his ground. He can't go along with everything anyone says. That's not his position. His position, again, is to be non-biased. His position, first he has to be a man of integrity. You have to tell the truth. You have to have integrity. You have to be honest. You have to be fair. And the last thing you can be, the last thing you should be, is anyone's personal hitman. I've seen that so many times where the sergeant punishes someone because the president says so, or the vice president says so. The only thing he does in that, he'll carry out whatever nonsense whatever their agenda is, he falls in line with it. And that's the worst kind of sergeant, because at the end of the day, he outranks you and you have no say so if you follow the rank. Now, we're all men. Yes, we can argue about it all day. We're all men. But if you're following rank, he outranks you. And the worst thing in the world is to have a sergeant that doesn't have the balls to tell the president, no, you're not right, and I'm not doing that. Or to tell the vice president, no, you're wrong, I'm not doing that. Any sergeant that does whatever the president says, that's not a sergeant, that's a lackey. That's a sucker. What do we call them? We call them, man, there's a word for it in the street. I forget what we call him. He's not much of a man. That's what I'm trying to get to. In my opinion, he's not much of a man. Yeah. Again, he's got to be able to ride the middle, and he's got to be able to say no when no is no, and yes when yes is yes. He's got to be able to go against the president when the president's wrong. He's got to be able to go against the body when the body's wrong. He's got to know the bylaws upside down, inside out, around and through, and he's got to always revert back to whatever the bylaws say. He's the keeper of the bylaws, whether it's popular or it's not popular. This is what the bylaws say. This is what we stand on. And that's what the sergeant has to be. So, no, on the dark side, the dark side. On the dark side, you do have, sergeants that are in cahoots with presidents, and they all have their own hidden agendas. But that doesn't last too long, because on the dark side, on the other side, men have a tendency to speak their minds. Right? I don't know how it is in a 99, even though I was in a 99. Men have a tendency to speak their minds. So if the sergeant is consistent,
or vote with their feet,
if the sergeant is continuously being a yes man, that's not going to fly too well. That's not going to go too well. But at the end of the day, he does outrank you, and that's the shitty part. When you have a sucker that outranks you, it's the worst thing in the world, man. Because you're I don't know how to explain it, but I've said this a million times. The worst thing in the world is an idiot with the keys or the code to a nuclear missile. That's like the worst thing in the world. He's an idiot, right? He's an idiot, but he outranks you. So it's like, what the fuck, man? It's a no-win situation, and it makes being in a club straight misery. It really, really does. So that's my opinion on the situation, man. He's got to be strong-minded, follow the bylaws, be able to tell the president to go fuck himself, be able to tell the body to go fuck themselves. We're doing what's right. We're doing what the bylaws say, and stand on that. And that's why being a sergeant is such a shitty position.
What happens when you got a guy in the club who just can't get right? He can't get right. Matter of fact, his name should be Can't Get Right. And you, as a sergeant at arms, don't even really like his ass either.
Doesn't matter.
But they're trying to come against him, and by darn it, he deserves it because he's always screwing up. But this one particular time, he's innocent. But they want to drum his ass out. So how do you play fair with someone you don't even like?
But you have to. Again, I've always said this too. It doesn't matter how I personally feel about you. Now, this is where integrity comes in. It doesn't matter whether I like you or I don't like you. That's personal. What matters is what's right. Right? I have to be able to stand on what's right. In spite of my personal feelings, which is hard for people to do. People can't separate their feelings. Right? Everybody runs around on emotion. Nobody uses common sense. Everything is emotion. Sometimes you have to be able to step back and separate how I feel about you from what's right. And if the man is right in this situation, then he is right. And I'm going to stand behind him and say, no, nah. This is not last situation. This is not 10 situations before that. This is this situation, and he's right. So it doesn't matter how we feel about the brother. The brother's right. So whatever comes after that comes after that. Now, if we say, well, you know, he had 15 infractions before, what happens this time? Nothing happens this time. He's right. We don't punish him. That's it. Doesn't matter how I feel about him. He's right. End the conversation. Next on the agenda is
but he's a
secretary report.
troublemaker, man. He's a troublemaker.
It doesn't matter. I can't convict you based on old crimes. Right. I can't. Once you served your time, you can't bring that up in court anymore. It doesn't work. The judge is going to say that document is sealed. He served his time. That doesn't have anything to do with this case. We have to stick to the facts of this case. And if the person is innocent, I'm a strong believer and I will stand with you because you're innocent. I'm not going to let an innocent man get convicted simply because the angry mob doesn't like him. I don't care what the angry mob likes. He's innocent. The man walks. Now, if he's a fuck up, hold on. If he's a fuck up, trust me, he's gonna fuck up again. Sit back and just wait your turn. He'll be back. If he's a fuck up, right? Just be chill. He'll be back. But it ain't today. It ain't today.
So
that's just my opinion.
In a situation where the president assigns you, appoints you, I've heard presidents say, you know, in my club, everybody was voted on. That was just it. But when the president appoints you, in some clubs, a sergeant at arms is appointed. The president says, I can't trust anybody with my life that I don't appoint. Right. So now you have a special incentive. If I can appoint you, I can unappoint you. So when I ask you to do some dastardly shit, some underhanded stuff, you now have this big pressure on you because I can just get rid of you. So what do you do then? How does you don't want to lose that office, and that president's putting pressure on you to be a hitman on this guy who like put him out without a trial. What do you do? And I spoke to a sergeant at arms from a big time Christian club who did those things. He actually became a hitman for his national P. And when I asked him about it, when he was calling to tell me about a lot of things that they had wanted me to expose on that club in the news, which I elected not to do that. But I asked him, I said, you a sergeant at arms, how could you put out innocent people? And he said, I was trying to protect the reputation and integrity of the club and the integrity and the reputation of the president that I knew was doing bad shit. But if he went down, the club went down. What do you think?
So again, let me back up a little bit. You said the sergeant doesn't want to lose the position. So he does whatever the president says, because just as quick as the president brought you in, he could take you out. Right? That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has a position permanently. Right? Positions, and it doesn't matter what position it is, from the national president all the way down to, whatever. Having a position is an honor. It's an honor to be asked to serve your nation or your club, right? And just as quick as they gave it to you, it can go away. Don't get attached to a position like it belongs to you. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to you at the moment, right? It's not your position. It's your position for the moment. So if you're going to take it from me because I'm doing the right thing, then I'm going to give it to you anyway. I don't want it, because my integrity means more to me than your fucking position. Take your position and shove it in your ass. That's how I feel about it. Second, presidents are not above the law. Just as I'm a sergeant, I can discipline the chapter, I can discipline the president too. So if the president is knowingly doing something wrong, I can get him too. The sergeant at arms, in my opinion, is the most powerful position in the charter. It's the most powerful position in the charter. Presidents aren't above the law. Vice presidents aren't above the law. And any sergeant that lets a president run around doing things to the men that is not fair, and the sergeant knows, that's not a sergeant. That's a pussy. That he's straight bitch. And find out my address and come see me if you think I'm talking about you. I have no respect for a man like that. We're not in a club to mistreat people. right? Don't let me find out that you're mistreating. Somebody said that about me one day. One of my nationals said, said to, XYZ people when I was in my charter, don't let me find out that you're mistreating him. Because if I find out you're mistreating him, I'm shutting this whole fucking charter down. That's the words he used. And I learned from that. So now I'm going to say, as the sergeant of arms, let me find out that the president or vice president are mistreating people. You won't be president or vice president much longer because I have that authority. I have that power, right? That's why we have nationals. That's why we have national sergeants. In fact, the sergeant doesn't report to the president. The sergeant reports to a national sergeant. That's who he reports to, right? And the way I was taught, if there's a regional sergeant, I would report to the regional report to the national. And if I went back to the regional sergeant and said, Sarge, they're mistreating men over here. They're doing the wrong thing. What do you think that regional sergeant's going to do? The next thing you know, there's going to be some nomads, and then regional sergeant's going to be at church. And they're going to want to know what the fuck is going on. Why is my Sarge calling me, telling me that you guys are in here mistreating fucking people? We don't fucking do that. What's the story? And now we're going to lay it all on the fucking line. And now we're going to get to the bottom. We're going to start telling the truth now. And I guarantee you that president won't have a seat anymore. If he's found guilty of mistreating members, he ain't going to be a president much longer. And the vice president was going along with his shenanigans, they both will get hands put on them. And then I will become president because in the line, it would be I would move up and then somebody would take my place, on and on and on. So then I would take the president's seat. So then that's how that would work. National would step in, send some nomads in with the national, with the regional, and they'd find out what the fuck is going on. And if the charter's not being run correctly, the nomads would take over until it could be figured the fuck out. The nomads would take the charter. There'd be no president. There'd be no vice president. There'd be no sergeant. Until we can figure out what the fuck is going on in this charter, the nomads are now in charge. Everybody gives up their patches and steps down. And that's the way that's handled. I'm not going to let a president or a vice president bully the men simply because you outrank them. That's not happening on my watch. And maybe that's why I don't get to stay sergeant very long. Maybe that's why. So there's the answer to the question.
So, as a person with that great responsibility and that sort of thing, how do you not let that go to your head where you become a thorn in the side of the president just because you can? Because don't you have some responsibility to support the regime?
No. I have a responsibility to two things, and I mentioned them already. To protect the seat this man sits in and to follow the bylaws. That's my responsibility. To protect the seat. And there could be 10 people sitting in a seat and I'm sergeant. All 10 of them get the same respect. They get the same protection. The bylaws are the bylaws. They should never be changed. You can amend them, but they should never be changed. We follow the bylaws. Now, if the board comes to a vote and says, Sarge, the board has voted, this is what we need you to do, then the board voted based on whatever that situation was, whatever the facts were, whatever the facts were that brought to the table. The board found you guilty or innocent. Whatever the board found, it is my job to now go and enforce whatever the board, decides. Now, if the board says we want a punishment inflicted, it's my job to decide what that punishment is. I'm the keeper of the punishment. So if they say we want you to kick him out, and it was some chicken shit, I'm gonna say no. We'll find him guilty, but you're not kicking him out. We'll give him a $10 fine. We'll give him a $10 fine. We'll let him know, you can't keep doing what you're doing. I have a talk with him, and we send him on his way. But we're not kicking him out. It's not a kick out offense. Because you have some boards that are bloodthirsty because they don't like the guy. You have some presidents or vice presidents that are bloodthirsty, like you said, because they don't like the guy. Well, guess who's the protector of the guy? Me. I'm in the middle. I'm the buffer that you got to get through. And you're not getting through me. Because I'm going to say, all right, he's guilty. But now I decide what his punishment is, not y'all. That's my job. Go wash the bikes next Sunday. Your job is to wash everybody's bike on Sunday. I'll see you next Sunday. And you let them go. We're not in the business of bullying or beating up or threatening or intimidating or mistreating anybody. That's not what clubs are, man. And that's not what they should be, in my opinion. In my opinion.
Yeah, you said that we were going to agree on most things. That's why I can't fight back at you tonight. I can't fight back at you. I was like, man, I know the ones are doing it so much different. I got a whole lot to say. No, it sounds pretty reasonable to me. When it comes to putting hands on bros and that sort of thing, is that something only the sergeant at arms can do, or can the president just decide he's going to knock a brother out?
No, the president's job is not to administer discipline. That's not his job. In fact, I've had a couple people ask me when I've posted on Facebook, if the club is out and the club gets into a situation, what happens to the president? And you get a lot of presidents that want to stand there and throw hands, and they want to do this and they want to do that. It doesn't matter how nice your hands are. That's not your job. That's not your responsibility. You have to play your position, right? Your position says that we can't have you getting hurt, because then who's the president? So now I'm going to take it back to your question. Whether the president has hands or not is irrelevant. That's not his job. No more is it my job to be president. That's not my job. That's not his job. Discipline is left up to the sergeant. It's not the president say so. The sergeant outranks the president in that situation, and he outranks the VP. His word is final. And again, if they try to cause some commotion, there's a regional sergeant and there are nomads, and they'll come in and they'll solve the problem quickly. My sergeant said XYZ. That's the way it goes. That's it. That's the way it goes. So no, the president doesn't have a right. He doesn't put his hands on anybody. The sergeant administers discipline. So if I feel this guy, if I want somebody to put hands on him as a sergeant, I don't have to necessarily do it either. I have a couple of, hitters that I say, all right, give them 5 minutes and whatever. And then after the 5 minutes it's over, give the brothers cut back and let's go have a fucking beer. It ain't, it ain't personal. When I hear to abuse you, that's not what this is about, man. That's not what this is about. So no, presidents don't put their hands on anybody.
I really appreciate that. Now, let me ask you this. When the sergeant says it's time to go, I don't like what I'm seeing, I'm ready to go. And the president says, no, it's cool, let us stay. Who has to say so on that?
President doesn't have a say so when you're out. No more than the sergeant has a say so when you're on the road. Right? When you're on the highway, the road captain runs the show. The sergeant takes a step back, the VP takes a step back, the president's not the president. The road captain's in charge of everything that happens on the road. If the road captain says we're going to stop at this gas station because the next rest stop we heard has, enemies at it, guess what? We follow his rules. If he says make a left instead of making a right, even though making a right is a shorter way, because that's going to go through enemy territory, then we follow his lead and we make a left. The road captain runs the road. The sergeant, if we're out in the street, the sergeant is the one that dictates how the club moves. It doesn't matter what the president says. He doesn't have a say so. I, as the sergeant, said I'm not comfortable. This doesn't feel right. Something doesn't smell right. We got to get you out of the building. We got to get the VP out of the building. And I'll stay here with my hitters. And we'll see which way it goes. But I need you to get out of here. No, I'm saying I'll have you escorted out of the building. So you can either go the easy way, you can go the hard way, but you're leaving the building. That's how that works. Because if something happens to him, what happens to our charter? What happens to our charter? Right? I need you to be in good standing. I need you to be in a car somewhere, safe, where we can report back to you what's going on and you can make calls. You can navigate the ship. It's like a coach. It's like the president of the United States. He gets an Air Force One. He's going to fly around forever. Right? You can't have the president getting hit. He's going to fly around an Air Force One for 6 weeks if he has to. Right. So he can navigate what goes on. Number one and number two should never be in the same place together. I've said this before. Why? Or they should never leave together. They can be in the same place, but they should never leave together. One goes one way, the other goes the other way. Why? Because if they get one car, they got us. They got everybody. They got our whole board. Now we have nobody to lead the charter. This guy goes that way, this guy goes that way, and that way we keep it safe. So the president has no say so when we're out. It's once the sergeant says it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah. Now, when you get someone recommended for charges, who does the investigation to see if the charges are even real or not? Or is
That's
that something anyone can just bring that up? Or how is a person properly, how do you properly bring someone to trial?
Well, it depends on what we're talking about. Is it that serious that we need a trial? If it's not that serious, then the Sarge, the Sarge has to be able to make that call. This is not serious enough. He missed church last Sunday or Saturday. Do we need a trial for that? No, we don't. Fine him $10 next church, or tell him if he misses another church, we're going to fine him $10. There's no trial needed. If it's something serious, like the guy's accused of being a rat or a pedophile, or on whatever, I need to see paperwork. Now, the problem with seeing paperwork in 2026 is a lot of paperwork can be created by AI, right? You can falsify anything nowadays. So you have to know what you're looking at. You have to be able to know that these are actual court documents. They're not made up by AI, because people will fabricate anything before you convict a guy. So you have to be methodical in your process if it's that serious before we bring charges up on somebody. You have to cross your T's and dot your I's and cross your T's before we bring charges up on somebody. Hearsay doesn't work. You got to bring me something more than hearsay. That ain't working. I'm taking that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So again, if it's serious charges, if it's some bullshit, like I just said, the guy was late to church, let him know don't be late to church no more. Like, come on, the shit happens to all of us. Stuff like that, you don't need a trial. But if it's something major, there has to be proof. Give me a recording. Give me something. I don't want to hear your opinion. That's not going to cut it, bro. Because the guy on trial has an opinion too. So what makes him a liar and you telling the truth? What makes you a liar and him telling the truth? I can't listen to any one of y'all. I'll hear your sides, but I want to see proof, tangible evidence. And if we don't have tangible evidence, video, a recording, paperwork, then unfortunately we got to let it fly. Because people are going to accuse people of shit because I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
If we ran around convicting people based on what somebody else said, we'd all be in shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd all be in shit. Oh, I saw him XYZ. Really? Lock him up. This is not Russia in the 1950s. This is not Nazi Germany, where you could say your neighbor's a Jew and all of a sudden now they're tearing down his house and trying to kill him. Right. And he's not Jewish. Right? It is not the Salem witch trials. Oh, she's a witch, and now we're going to burn her at the stake, and she had a cold. It wasn't, she wasn't a witch. This is not that. We have to be fair and honest, and this is where integrity comes into play. This is where integrity and having balls comes into play, because you're going to piss the people off that really want to get this guy, because you're going to tell them I can't convict him, based on your word. I need evidence. Fuck you, you his man. I'm not anybody's man. I'm right in the middle. I'm not your man. I'm not the president's man. I'm nobody's man. But every brother that's in good standing with his dues deserves a fair trial. He deserves to be treated fairly, regardless of how I feel about the man personally. If he's innocent, he's innocent, and I can hate his guts. If he's guilty, and I can love him like a brother. Or if I can't do the job correctly, then I can't be sergeant. I'm going to step out and be a regular man. I'm going to be road captain. I'm going to be easy. Make a left, make a right. Hand signals. I'm going to be road captain. That's it.
Well, I promised you, when we do this every night, every couple nights, I know you work late and everything. I promised you I wouldn't be keeping you on forever. We've done this in 39 minutes, which is pretty quick for us.
It is. This is a record. This is a record.
This is a record.
This is a record.
But I am truly satisfied with our show tonight, and you really came on here and showed the hell out, man. I appreciate it.
Man, I'm just giving you my experience. Like I said, I said to you before I even started on that rant. This is my experience. I don't speak for anyone. This is my opinion and my experience being in an outlaw club for XYZ years, man. That's it. So
Mr. Fresh has one question Gentlemen, I have a question. How would I go about attempting to introduce myself to a specific dominant club on the black set down here in Georgia to let them know I'm interested? Do I go to an event? You want to answer that, or you want me to answer that?
Both can answer it. Maybe we do. Maybe we would do it differently. First, you're not going to walk up and introduce. You're going to find out who the sergeant is. Typically, you go through the sergeant, ask one of the members.
You said it. You said it. Okay, we would do the same thing. Go ahead.
And go up to one of the members. You probably won't know who the sergeant is unless he has some kind of patch that signifies that he's a sergeant. Respectfully, no glasses, no gloves, no attitude. Respectfully walk up to one of their members. Introduce yourself, shake his hands, let him know what your intentions are. He's going to know if he's a good member. He's going to know what to do. He'll probably either bring somebody over to you, get your number, pass it off. They'll give you a phone call. When you talk to, hopefully you talk to the sergeant and let the sergeant know what your intent is. And maybe the sergeant will handle it for you, or he'll say, I'll set up a sit down and you come sit down with the powers that be, and you present your case from there. That's how you do it now.
Yeah. So I would add to that. You would probably want to go to a public event that they're having, an open house or whatever the event that they have that they're offering for the public to come. Show up there, look around, see what you like, hang out for a few minutes or whatever, and then find a member and tell a member, hey man, I'm interested in maybe talking to your sergeant at arms. I'd kind of like to know more about your organization and maybe see if I could, hang around you guys a little, get to know you. I'd like to talk to a sergeant at arms and maybe, see what he might have to say about that. And that's how you get your way over to the sergeant at arms. You present your case to him, like Wu said, and they'll let you know. They'll let you know. Now, expect a few things. Expect standoffishness.
Absolutely. Expect the who the fuck are you?
Expect suspicion, which was what Wu just said. Who the F are you?
Who the fuck are you?
Expect some suspicion. Suspect some grumpiness, maybe.
Absolutely.
In the 99% club, a lot is like, oh well, yeah, man, come on in, and then they're hugging you and loving on you and everything. Not particularly in the outlaw club world. Expect them to tell you, "F no, we're not interested."
Go fuck yourself.
Go F yourself. And if you get that, just be back next week.
I was going to say that. Don't let that deter you. It's not personal. It's not personal. No. You come back next week, and the more they see you, the more they'll ease up, right? The more they see you, the more they'll be like, all right, we saw this guy last week. Yeah. Well, let's find out what this is about. But it's not personal. It's not personal.
Yeah.
It's not personal.
Sometimes they just want to see if you're committed or not. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The more they see you, the more they see you hanging around or whatever, and they might not talk to you, but the more they see you, somebody's going to walk up to you eventually and be like, okay, who the hell are you and what do you want? And it moves from there.
Absolutely. Real quick, when I was getting to know my former Diamond Club, and I met them here in New York City and Brooklyn, I didn't know who I was meeting. I just knew the club. And when I went to Brooklyn and I was waiting for them in Brooklyn, when they pulled up, not one of them said one word to me. I was talking to myself, and I was like a yappy puppy. I was like an excited puppy coming from a 99 like you just did. And I felt like the biggest goofball in the world later on down the line. And not one of them talked to me. Not one of them looked at me. And it was a memorial for a brother, and they were going to have a ride out. And I kind of remember as everybody's pulling off, one of them looked at me and kind of said, get on your bike and follow us. He didn't say it, but you knew what he meant. We're leaving. You saw them getting on their bikes, and he kind of nodded, like, come on. And they didn't say shit to me for like 2 hours. One of the guys' bike broke down, and I stayed with him the entire night till his bike got towed. We went in front of his house. We hung out, and I got to know that guy. And that's what introduced me to my first outlaw club, because they didn't talk to me either. And it was so uncomfortable. It was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, man.
Especially because I was like a yappy puppy, man. I was like a chihuahua.
I've been to so many of their clubhouses, y'all's clubhouses, and I've had to learn my way through it. But do not be do not be deterred by some rude mofos.
Yeah. In fact, expect it. Expect
In fact, expect it.
Expect it. Yeah.
Eric says, "You want us. We don't want you."
Absolutely.
he said, if anything is even said to you at all. And April says, "Yeah, because so many mofos trying to infiltrate." So yeah, they are. Eric says you got to put in that work, and all of those things do exist. Hey, listen, man. Tuesday night,
Thursday this week. So tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tonight Tuesday. Oh,
tonight's Tuesday. Tonight's Tuesday.
I'm retired. What day?
Tomorrow's Wednesday, and then we'll be back on Thursday.
Back Thursday
with the wonderful folks. Yeah. We'll see them again on Thursday around 9 o'clock at CPT.
All right, man. So hey. Oh shoot, wrong thing. I was trying to get some outro music. Here we go. I got to get this tuned up. Yeah, here we go. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Black Dragon, Woo 1%er. Next week on Church, man. Take care. Peace. Hey, and it's your boy Black Dragon. We'll see you in the morning. This morning I had a funeral, so I wasn't on, but I'll see you tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel with Black Dragon Biker TV, the Black Dragon Biker News Network. Biker news you can use. Thanks for tuning in, and get skinny!
SAA, Lackey or Protector, you decide. Right here, right now. Follow the protocol or get out. This is church. No lackeys allowed. Protector or nothing.
Club shootings, raids, and 1%er drama. This is Biker News, raw and unfiltered. Police are cracking down on biker clubs across the state. Arrests and violence are rising. Stay with us for the latest.
Get the Motorcycle Club Chaplain's Handbook by Black Dragon and learn MC chaplaincy principles from the first and only professional guide for spiritual leadership inside the motorcycle club community. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and get your autographed copies from blackdragonsgear.com. Learn the role of the Capellani and strengthen the moral compass of your MC.
Get the Art of War for Motorcycle Clubs, a strategic survival manual for MC presidents, officers, full patch members, prospects, and anyone who rides wearing a patch.
Join Black Dragon, Woo 1%er, and Lavish T. Williams for our new show, Church. Learn real MC protocol, lifestyle, culture, and the MC social construct.
Thank you.